So this has been a really interesting year for me. We're in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, but I also happen to just get myself out of debt. I've been in debt for quite a few years without getting too personal, and I know that this is a very common thing. In fact, when you look at the statistics in Canada, over 50% of Canadians are in debt, and over 50% of Canadians are living check to check. They don't have enough money to sustain themselves. And I guarantee this isn't just a Canada problem, this is a worldwide problem. So no matter where you are, you're gonna love this video because what I'm gonna talk about today is how you can get out of debt as a music creator. Are you ready? Let's go. Are you an artist, producer, engineer, or music professional that's looking for funding for your music career? Could you benefit from having funding for studio time, mixing and mastering, or even marketing costs? I think I have something for you. I've written a free ebook. It's 9 pages, super short and digestible, where I break down the 6 main places that artists and professionals like yourself can find funding for their musical projects. If this sounds like it's of value to you, please click the link below and you can download this for free today and benefit from this knowledge. I hope this helps. I'll see you guys soon. Peace. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is your boy 5-Piece producer and engineer extraordinaire. Thank you for checking out today's video. We're going to talk about a very important topic, and that is how to get yourself out of debt as a music creator. I'm going to outline the strategies that I've used to get myself out of debt over the past few years. I actually had about roughly $30,000 owed to various organizations, including student loans, credit card loans, all types of stuff. And I managed to really plow through and pay it off throughout the past few years and put myself into a really good position now, which I'm excited about because, as you know, debt is extremely stressful. Now, that being said, before we get into this, if you can, please hit the bell and the subscribe button below. I've got a lot of helpful content for you, focused on music advice and really how to make your music sound amazing and how you can get paid for it as well. So definitely hit the bell and the subscribe button so you can see more today. Now let's talk about my strategy and how I got out of debt over the past few years. Now this is not an overnight strategy, and of course I'm going to preface this by saying I am not an accountant or financial expert. I'm simply going to share my anecdotal evidence and stuff that I've done to get myself out of debt. You may find some of this helpful, some of this may not be right for you, but definitely be cautious when doing anything because I don't want you to get yourself into any more trouble if you are drowning in debt. Now that being said, let's talk about the first thing I did. Number 1, track your net worth. A few years ago, I read a really amazing book called The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. And I remember also reading another book called The Effective Executive. If you're a fan of The Effective Executive, you know that author Peter Drucker says something along the lines of what gets measured gets managed. So by measuring stuff, you're able to see exactly where you stand at any given point in time. Now, what I got from The Millionaire Real Estate Investor was this author who's really talking about how to make your money in real estate said that every single month he would track his net worth on a spreadsheet. And the way he would do it would be by taking inventory of his assets, the things that he has that are either worth money or producing money on a regular basis, versus his liabilities, the things that he owes, his debt payments, his car payments, his mortgage payments, etc. And by tracking this number month over month, you're able to see how you're doing at improving it. And of course, as you look at this number every month, you want to improve it. When I would do my net worth spreadsheet every month on the first of the month, I would see, hey, I'm here, I'm trying to get here. What decisions can I make to help get me closer? And by doing that, it just puts it way more top of mind and of course motivates you to do better. Now, I use a very specific spreadsheet for my month-over-month net worth tracking, and what I've done for you is I've included it below as a link. You can download it and you can use it today, and I hope it helps you track your net worth and of course improve it over time. Number 2, create a budget and stick to it. In order to get yourself out of debt, you need to be aware of what you're spending every month, and you want to try to figure out how much money you can allot to your debt in order to pay it off faster and reduce the amount of interest you pay over time. Now, the only way to do that is to actually create a budget, and the best way to create a budget is to actually look at your statements and see what you're spending every month. Look at your debit card transactions. Look at your Visa transactions. See where is your money going every month, and you'll actually be able to see exactly how stupidly you're spending your money sometimes. Maybe you realize you're eating out every single day and you need to stop doing that and just cook some more meals at home. Maybe you're spending too much money on entertainment or going out drinking with your friends. You need to be aware of these things, and the only way to do that is to do a proper audit of what you're spending, and then of course create a budget related to that that gives you permission of what to spend. So you may find out, hey, I'm spending $500 a month on entertainment, but all I can afford is $50 a week, roughly $200 a month, and therefore I'm gonna spend only that amount of money. And if you're able to do that, you can therefore focus your money onto paying down debt and getting rid of it quicker. Number 3, reduce expenses. Now, if you follow the last point, you should have created a budget by this point, and now your goal should be to reduce any expenses, especially unnecessary ones. Maybe you realize, hey, I'm not going to the gym as much and I can exercise outside. Maybe you can get rid of your gym membership. Maybe you can call your phone provider and reduce your cell phone bill every single month. There's a bunch of different ways that you can cut down on costs, and of course it's going to take you auditing things first to figure out what makes sense to get rid of. And of course you want to be mindful of getting rid of things that you actually don't take full advantage of or use. Another great idea is to try to find alternatives. Maybe you find that you have a Spotify subscription, but you don't actually listen to music that much. Maybe you can get rid of it and listen to music on SoundCloud, or maybe you can settle for using their free version. There's a whole bunch of different ways, but ultimately what you want to try to do is reduce these expenses and refocus the money that you're saving onto paying down your debt even faster. Number 4, pay off debts using the debt snowball method. Now, this is a method popularized by Dave Ramsey. I think he may have actually been the guy that created it. He's a popular author. He wrote the Total Money Makeover and has a lot of great content out there as well. But what he suggests is, instead of typically paying off the debt that has the highest interest first, you focus on paying the debt that has the lowest balance. So you're not even thinking about the interest rate at all. Instead, what you're trying to do is get rid of your lowest debt first. So let's say you have a credit card balance of $2,000, but then you have a line of credit balance at $1,000. That line of credit with $1,000, even though it may have a lower interest rate, you're gonna focus on paying that off first. And by doing that, you're gonna ultimately build up momentum. And by building up momentum, you're gonna be able to tackle your other debts next. Number 5, consolidate debt. Now I'm gonna be honest, this isn't really a debt solution, but the beauty of consolidating debt is you can get everything under one umbrella, so to speak. You can take all of your different debts and put them into one solid loan, maybe a line of credit from a bank, and you can focus on paying that off on its own. And the other benefit is too, they may actually give you a lower interest rate. So for example, I had a credit card balance that was absurd. And what I was able to do was I was able to get a line of credit for about half of the interest that I was paying on the credit card and lump it into that payment instead. So I was basically able to get rid of my credit card debt, absorb it into this line of credit instead, but then I have a lower interest rate and then I'm able to continue paying it down at a much more rapid velocity. And it kind of helps because you're not paying, 3 or 4 different debts. You just have this one lump sum that you have to focus on paying down. So even though it's not totally a solution, consolidating debt may make things easier to pay off in the long run. Number 6, automate your debt payments. Now, this goes for just about everything, but you want to make sure that you don't have to consciously think about paying off your debt. If you're ever given a choice between paying off a debt or buying something you like, you're probably going to buy that thing you like and be a little more reckless with it. I know I certainly was, and that's what got me into trouble in the first place. Now, that being said, what you want to do is you want to set up some post-dated transactions usually. So what this means is, for example, with myself, on the 2nd and the 16th of every month, I have my bank account set up to automatically pay off a certain amount of my debt. So maybe, on the 2nd and 16th, it's $200. So I have to make sure I have $200 in my bank account focused on paying off my line of credit. Once you do that, okay, every month that payment's gonna happen twice, so I'm gonna get $400 closer to being debt-free every single month. And by automating it, you take all of the thinking out of it, and you're able to just get that debt paid down way faster. Number 7, save up for an emergency fund. Now, I really made this mistake. I remember walking into a bank, asking for them to approve me for a line of credit, and all I had was debt, and I had no assets whatsoever. I had no savings, nothing. I just wanted to consolidate my loans so I could, reduce my payments, and they basically laughed me out of it. They said, there's no way we can make this happen. You have nothing saved up. But what I did was I left that bank and I started saving up my money. And usually you just want to start up with something as simple as $1,000. But by saving up this $1,000, you're going to obviously create a little bit of an emergency fund, a little bit of a cushion, and it's going to help you avoid going into more debt because things are constantly popping up. But of course, what you're going to want to do is increase this over time so that you have more assets. And by having more assets, banks and other lenders are going to look at you more favorably when it comes to asking for money. The truth is they're not going to give you money if you only have debt. You need to have assets in order to get more credit and more debt available to you. So definitely make sure you set that up if you don't have a savings right now. Number 8, increase your income. It doesn't matter what you do. You can reduce your debt payments, you can consolidate your debts, you can automate all the finances in the world. But if you don't have enough coming in, you're not going to be able to get out of debt. You're not even going to be able to put a dent into it. And sometimes this is a very harsh reality for a lot of people. In fact, I have a lot of people that are hitting me up asking me, yo, how did you get out of debt? How can I get out of debt? I don't really make that much money. And the answer for them is you have to increase your income. The rest of this video is irrelevant until you do that. And let me tell you a little story about how important this is. When I told you the story about me going to the bank and being laughed out of there, I remember I was so stressed out, so unraveled in my debt that I just thought, you know what, there has to be another way. And I ended up actually calling one of those credit counseling organizations because I just really didn't think that I could get out of debt. I had a lot of money that I owed and it was just very daunting to try to pay this off. And I ended up having a meeting at this organization. And thankfully, they were very honest with me and they told me, look, this organization is for people who are in really, really bad financial situations, and you are not in that situation. You are actually doing really good. You have great credit. You're meeting your payments. All you have to do is focus on increasing your income so you can do a bigger chunk of debt payment at a time and obviously get out faster. So I ended up leaving that meeting with basically nothing being done except for knowing that I had to find a way to increase my income. And what did I do? I went out and I got a part-time job. Now, at the time, I was still working in music. I was making money in music, but the problem was it was inconsistent. Even though I was engineering and producing and recording, sometimes it was unpredictable and sometimes that would lead to problems with my debt payments. So ultimately, I ended up saying, okay, every Tuesday and Wednesday, I'm gonna go work at this warehouse, which I absolutely hated. I absolutely did not want to work there, but I swallowed my pride and I did it. And by doing that, I was able to guarantee myself a couple $100 every week in income. And I was still able to do the other stuff that I do. I was still able to record and engineer and produce. But knowing that I had that guarantee and also knowing that everything was working together, I was able to increase the amount of money I was making on average. And as a result, I was able to pay off my debt faster. And guess what? I only had to work there for a year. And it was only a couple times a week. And to be honest, I'm so thankful that I ended up doing that because it got me to where I am now. It got me out of debt a lot faster than if I went about it the hard way. And I'm sure that you doing something similar may very well help. So there you have it, 8 different things that I did to get myself out of debt faster. I know that if you incorporate these into your own situation, you'll probably come up with some similar results. But again, everyone's situation is different, so definitely be mindful of where you're at right now. I hope this video helped. If it did, please give me a like, a share, a subscribe, leave me a comment below of some other things you want me to talk about, and I'm looking forward to helping you again soon. Peace out.
5